You might remember a couple of years ago, there was a huge problem with high-profile YouTube channels getting hijacked and used to stream cryptocurrency scams, usually involving Elon Musk promising to give away money. You don't really see these too often anymore, probably because people have wisened up to it, but as you would expect, scammers have been adapting and have turned to new techniques and targets. So in this video, I'm going to go over really what have the scammers been up to, what are they trying to do now in sort of the same space, and a new upcoming web technology that could make cookie stealing, which is how they do the hijacking, a thing of the past. It's a technology called device-bound credentials, and it's actually in a beta testing stage in Chrome as an optional flag, though I would not recommend you enable it right now just yet. I'll explain why and everything about it in a bit. So what are the channel hijacking scammers up to these days? Well, at least when I went to check, it seems that scammers have been targeting Steam accounts through things like fake Counter-Strike skin giveaways, and I'll explain how they do it. But the playbook is pretty similar still. Instead of Elon Musk doing a crypto giveaway, it is the hijacked channel impersonating some esports player and supposedly doing a skin giveaway on some website. They just record a stream that the esports player recently did and then replay it on YouTube, slap a QR code with a link to a fake website they set up, and also put it in the comments for people to click on. Interestingly, the clickable link they put does not actually go directly to the website, probably because it's easier to track. Instead, it goes to a community post on a totally separate channel that promotes the same scam, and that has the link to the scam final website. And this community post with the scam is actually a whole month old, though they have been editing it. So the domain is actually only a few days old. So they obviously have been just editing the same post to update it with whatever latest domain they've been using. And if you go on the scam website, instead of a crypto giveaway where you send money and double it back or whatever, they have a thing where you can open a case. Of course, if you try to actually do it, things don't turn out nicely. I found 2 different scam sites from 2 different streams, and the sites were surprisingly polished with a pretty decent looking animation for the case opening thing. Though it shows the same fake animation with the same fake winning prize for every single person. Of course, when you try to go and claim it, it says that you need to log in with Steam, and you could probably guess where this is going. Upon clicking the login button, it brings up what looks like a new window for the Steam login page, but actually this entire window here is fake. So even though it says in this browser bar lookalike thing, Steam Community, you're not on Steam Community at all. You are still on that site, and it just has a box that looks like a browser window. And I will point out, even if it was an actual login for Steam Community, do not even log in still, because they could still let you grant access that they could abuse as well. So in any case, you don't want to be typing credentials in here, but in this case, they're just going to steal them. It actually seems smart enough to detect whether or not you type in real ones. It's probably just relaying the login information to actual Steam so it can tell. And if you have Steam Guard, it would just intercept the code that you type in as well. So that is something you definitely need to be aware of if you ever have what looks like a pop-up window for a legitimate seeming login thing. Make sure that it's actually a separate window. Here you can see it's not even a separate window. And again, even if it was, you still don't want to type anything in here, because again, there's other ways they can steal it, not just from stealing the password itself. Now, as for the YouTube channel that got hijacked and was doing the stream, that was most likely, again, cookie stealing. And by the way, it's not just used for hijacking YouTube channels and stuff. It can affect anyone, and they'll steal more than just your YouTube login. They'll steal everything they can get their hands on your computer. Cookie stealing has been extremely prevalent for the past several years because it is so effective, but hopefully at least the cookie stealing part of it will be a complete thing of the past relatively soon, thanks to those device-bound credentials that I was talking about and I'm going to go over. Before I get to that though, something else that can protect you against hackers and scammers is today's sponsor, Bitdefender. In addition to their award-winning antivirus products, their new scam protection platform called Scam Copilot offers real-time protection and alerts across all your devices to safeguard interactions from emails and SMS to chat apps and web browsing. A major feature is the Scam Copilot chatbot, a specialized AI chatbot that helps you identify suspicious online interactions. You can show it text messages, links, links, QR codes, images, and screenshots, or simply explain the situation for it to analyze. It gives clear verdicts, and you can ask it for more information so you can learn more about how the scams operate. Scam Copilot is much more though, with features like scam wave alerts for recent scam outbreaks, email monitoring, SMS protection for both Android and iOS, because we all know how common scam texts have gotten. There's even online scam protection, sort of like how internet security features work against viruses, but this adds specializations in detecting new scam patterns and attacks. Plus, for Android, it can even detect scam push notifications and scams occurring in chat apps like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and Discord. And for iOS, it can detect scams in calendar events. It's available in Bitdefender Premium Security, Ultimate Security Plans, and Ultimate Small Business Security. So be sure to check out the link in the description where you can learn more about Bitdefender Scam Copilot. And with all that being said, let's get back to talking about the upcoming device-bound credentials feature. All right, so like I said, the hijacked channel probably got hijacked when they downloaded a virus that installed a so-called stealer, which looks through your computer and tries to find stuff like cryptocurrency wallet addresses and keys, and also stuff tied to your browser, whether it's the cookies for the login sessions or even password management databases. So if you use a password manager or extension, they'll try to steal literally all of your passwords. And the cookie stealing is especially effective because if you're not familiar with it, it basically bypasses two-factor authentication completely because it just tells the web browser that you're already logged in. Sort of like every time you open a web browser, you don't have to re-log into every website because it remembers that you're already logged in. It basically steals that session. And that is where the upcoming web standard device-bound credentials comes into play. It's actually apparently already in a limited testing phase in the latest versions of Chromium-based browsers. It even shows up if you look in the Chrome flags menu. There's a few different flags related to it, though they're not enabled by default. Like the name device-bound credentials suggests, it makes it so the usefulness of the cookie relies on it being actually on the specific physical device that it was created using the TPM modules. And that's sort of like the security enclave you may have heard of with phones, where private keys are stored physically on a separate thing that you can't remove them from. It's a special chip on the motherboard or in the CPU, and you can't take things out of it, but you can have the software sort of challenge it and send a request to the thing, and it just kind of verifies that you have access to that specific physical chip. A better way to describe it is without the actual individual physical chip that's on your computer, the cookies that were created with it would not be useful. You could steal the cookies off your computer and put them on another computer and try to use them, but without the actual physical chip that is only on your computer, they're useless. Now, for a little while now, Chromium-based browsers have had a sort of similar feature called app-bound credentials. A simple way to think of it is app-bound credentials, which again is already a thing, sort of makes it harder to steal the cookies, but once the hackers do steal the cookies, they can use them like normal, whereas device-bound credentials, it makes it useless to steal the cookies altogether. This actually uses a built-in security feature in Windows and I guess Mac, where it, from my understanding, effectively ensures that only Chrome can access the cookies, and the cookies are actually encrypted, and the Windows operating system at a higher level has control over who's allowed to access the cookies, and that ensures that Chrome itself, the process, is the only thing that can supposedly access them. And it just basically prevents a random virus you download at the user level privileges from accessing all your Chrome cookies. However, I believe that still means that if they are able to trick the user into escalating the virus, then they would still be able to access the cookies. And actually, unfortunately, virus makers have found a few different ways they can sort of bypass app-bound credentials, so it didn't really take them long. But device-bound credentials is the newer one that's not quite out yet, and that should still address and fix those problems. Now, the device-bound credentials concept has actually very recently, like literally within a few days of me recording this, been accepted in concept as a upcoming web standard. So it is going to be a thing, and it's still in the final spec draft stage, so it's not finalized yet, but it's basically pretty close. According to the latest announcement, within a matter of weeks, potentially, they could be done or expect to be done with the draft. And they've also apparently already begun so-called origin trials, which is just like a term for experimenting on limited sets of users with web browsing features. And apparently they're starting to do that already. And that's why you can actually enable it manually if you want in the Chrome flags, though I probably wouldn't do that just yet because it is so brand new. And also, I don't think a lot of websites really support it yet. It apparently, from my understanding, does require websites to support device-bound credentials, which it's so new that nothing does yet. On the GitHub page that is about this standard, they have some instructions, and I did follow it and was able to get it working in the beta version of Chrome. At least on the demo page, they have specifically set up for testing it. But again, this wouldn't actually be useful anywhere else at the moment. They're probably going to be testing this for a while. They estimate about 9 months. They're going to be doing 6 months for a first test and then a few months for after that. So if you really want to be a guinea pig, you could enable it, or maybe enable it on a second browser or something. Once it does go through a bit more validation and testing, and the biggest sites at least support it, which probably will be the first ones, then it, I think, would be worth it to enable it even if it's still in testing. But I'm sure it's not going to be long before pretty much every website supports it. Now, does this mean that stealer malware is going to be a thing of the past completely? Probably not. Obviously, it's still going to be worth it for malware stealers to try and steal passwords and stuff, and also cryptocurrency wallets just stored on people's computers. And if they can't move the cookies to another computer, they may just try to remotely control the computer itself. But at least if that is the case, you can stop their access by simply turning off the computer or disconnecting the internet. Though, of course, if they stole your passwords and you don't have two-factor authentication enabled on them, then you're not getting that back. You would have to change them all. But at least if they're like actively trying to control your computer, you can just disconnect it. So I am definitely going to be keeping an eye on this technology. I've actually been waiting for it to come out for a while. It's just been a while before it turned into anything substantial worth talking about. And I will be sure to make a video eventually when it does become, in my opinion, worth it to enable still in the testing phase, even if it hasn't rolled out yet. So we can take a look at the feature when it's a bit more polished. I would be very curious to know what you guys think. Are you excited for this? Or are you gonna maybe just enable it now anyway and see how it goes? We could talk about that and maybe how you think hackers are gonna adapt to this as well. We could talk about that all down in the comments. Thanks again to Bitdefender for sponsoring. Be sure to check out their new scam protection platform called Scam Copilot. You can learn more through the link in the description. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a big giant thumbs up. And if you want to keep watching, the next video I'd recommend is where I talked about new scams this year. As always, there's a bunch of new ones. I'll put that link right there you can click on. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.